Hi, Gary at ATV Tracks. Today we're working on a poor man's SUV. Instead of spending $35,000 for a Polaris with cabs, we've got a Suzuki Samurai right here. We actually have tracks that will fit this, and we're going to show you how to install them. The Suzuki is one of the easiest ones to do. We also have tracks for the Geo Tracker, Suzuki Sidekick, and now coming the Suzuki Carry, which all have very good instructions. We do recommend you be mechanically inclined a little bit to do this because there is some adjustments to be done and some common sense rules to be taken care of. A lot of people are confused if they have an independent suspension, track system, or solid axle. This is independent suspension. It has a spring and a torsion arm. This is the front, but the rear is just twice as long. Basically the same thing, and a bolt right here. If you have this on the rear, you have an independent suspension. The only way I can make these tracks work on a straight axle design is go to a solid axle. This bracket replaces this bracket. This connects to that. That way, this anti-rotation system works wonderful. So, if you have independent, we haven't figured it out. It's not strong enough. Solid axle design like this here has to be changed. I'll show you a list of the parts here. With the Samurai kit, we've got 4 custom-made hubs. We've got the rear bracket for the rear. We've got the brackets for the front. Now this bracket is different than this. This is for the older 6822, 6722 tracks. This is for the newer 6522. We also have the mounting plate for the front of the torsion arms on the front. You have to have these arms on, otherwise the track will fall off. So the first thing I'm going to show you is underneath your lower spindle. So I did put some blue Loctite on it. I'm going to basically put it up here and screw this in. This is what we're going to connect our torsion arm to. So I've got 3 more. Remember, I use a blue Loctite, and I have a lock washer on them too. So just screw them in. Going to tighten them up evenly. And then I'm going to grab a wrench and retighten so I can control the tightness. That's tight. 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 Okay, there. This will stay on. So when you go to tires, you will be able to take your torsion arm off and keep this on. Now we're going to grab a hub. On the hubs, it's very important that you wire brush these. I actually put a thread chaser on these here to clean all the rust off of the studs to make it work better. Just because it's going to be underneath tracks and stuff, I'm just going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. Now, the hub's pretty impressive. It's a 2-piece hub because we're going from a 5-hole to a 4-hole. And they're perfectly machined, very high quality hubs. I'm going to take this on. You'll see how close it is to the hub here. It's already egged out and stuff. I'm going to now take the lug nuts. Now, some people don't do lug nuts correctly. To do lug nuts correctly, you need to put them in finger tight. Right now, this hub is hanging down. So if I tighten this all the way, then it's not going to be centered. So I need to put in all my lug nuts, finger tight while I'm doing this. See how much it moves? If it's up here, it's not going to work. If it's down here, it's not going to work. It's got to be in the middle. And it'll be middle when you move this here and keep moving it to make sure it's centered. Now, it isn't going to move, and I've only got 2 on there. If you just tighten the first one down, chances are you're going to call back later and say, why'd they come loose? Now, when we put these in, we're going to do a torque to 40 pounds. and then we're going to go to 60, and then a 12 millimeter 1.25, I looked up torque is between 70 and 80 pounds. So my final torque is going to be 80. So right now I'm just snugging them up. I know that I've centered it up. I will then put it in park or have someone hold it for me to torque 80. So I'm going to get my torque wrench and torque them really quick. Then I'm going to do the final torque to 80. One. Done. Okay, 80 pounds. We're going from 5-hole to custom 4-hole. This is 115 millimeter. We do have some holes right here that match, and we have an offset hole right here that goes with an offset hole. Now we're going to take this and put it on. You'll see there's some holes to center this on the dowels here. There we go. These are already coated from the factory with anti-seize. These will be torqued to 50 pounds. You also see, make sure, because once you get the track on, you can't change it, make sure you're in lock position. Now I'm going to put all these in and do the same thing. I want to finger tighten them all to make sure that they're all basically centered, because it still moves up and down a little bit. These are pretty well machined, so there isn't a lot of play in this here. They will be torqued to 50 pounds. Okay, I want to grab my torque wrench. Okay, we're going to retorque to 50 pounds. Okay, then I'll go around one more time. Last one here. Okay, so basically this side here I put the nut, the bracket on to hold the torsion arm and the hubs on. The next thing to do is put the track on and do an adjustment on it. Before we do that, I'm going to go to the back and set that up. I'll have a short clip on that in a minute. So I had to reverse the bolt right here. I usually supply some, but sometimes they're not long enough. But this is where the bracket hangs on to, so if it's long to the inside, it doesn't work. So this one here, you can remove this bracket. This is the bracket we're going to put on. It fits very good on the Samurais. Notice how it basically sandwiches up here, so it can't turn that much. And then I'm basically going to tighten it and double nut it, so I don't have to worry about it coming loose. Very simple. So I'll tighten this really quick. Then for security, I always double tighten it. And to do it properly, you should tighten against each other, but this isn't moving, so there won't be a problem. Okay. Okay, she's tight. Now I'm going to walk over to the other side. This is what the torsion arm will connect to your track to keep it from flipping up and down. Very, very sturdy, very simple. this is what it looks like. This is where my torsion arm is connected, and it's connected to the track to keep it from flipping up and down. A very easy bolt-on system. Okay, so now we put the hubs on the front, and we showed you how to set up the rear. Now on the front, since you moved the hub out 3 inches, you have to move this in 3 inches. This is the old style, 6872 serial number, 6722 serial number. To make this work properly, you'll take this nut and spring off. You'll take this bracket that's custom made. I have a bushing that fits inside this hole perfectly where the spring used to go. Now it goes through this bracket right here and a washer on the back. This gives you the room to go in or out as far as you want. Okay, we have a safety bolt also, since this moves up and down. After this is tight, it won't move at all, but once it's set up, we're going to run this in here. Now sometimes you have to grind a little bit of the edge here because it's a little tight fit, depending on how the tolerance is on the machine. Now when this is put together properly, now you're going to take your regular spring, run it through the hole, run this one right here, it fits inside, and put your nut on. Now you just moved it out 3 inches, which is the requirement of what you have to do anytime you put a 3-inch spacer on. Now the secret is, this is the 686722. 6522, which is a stronger frame than the round tube, uses this bracket, swivel bracket bolted to the frame. All I do is put a 3-inch spacer in there to take care of the issue. Then it moves it out 3 inches. Much easier to do this than the other one. That's why I need to know which model you have, 6.8 or 6.5, or if it's solid or independent. Okay, now we've got the torsion arm here. This is the older style torsion arm that requires a little bit different adjustment, but the ultimate goal is the same. Spacer on top, spacer on bottom. Be careful on these bolts there that you don't strip it. You got to get them in there just right. There we go. She's in. Tight is going to be 34 pounds. You know, just, oh, come on, there you go, done. Okay, so this is the 6822 style adjustment. Basically, as you push this forward, it raises the back and lowers the rear bogey wheel. If you pull it back, it lowers the front and raises the bogey wheel. You want to take this off. Make sure it's loose, okay? Now, we're going to set it on the ground. We're going to make sure it's 12 inches from the top of the rear bogey wheel to the ground, and we'll show you that. But basically, this spring's got to be loose. So when you move this forward, it pushes the track up. When you move it back, it pushes it back. That's the only adjustment we have. Now we'll go on the ground and show you how we do it. I'm going to come over here to this rear bogey wheel. I'm going to lay a ruler across the top. And I'm going to see around 12 inches. Look at that. It's right at 12 inches. Let's go to the other side. We might have got lucky here. Across the top. 12 inches, perfect. Now I'll show you underneath here. If it was 11 inches, the back needs to be raised. That means this rubber right here that's touching this frame right here would have to be pushed back, lower the front, raise the back. It turned out to be perfect. Now see how the spring's still loose. Now, the only other adjustment you have is you're going to run the nut up to the spring and you're going to give it 1.5 turns. And if it's close to the end, so here's one notch, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one turn. There we go. 1, 2, 3. There's an eye lock there. It doesn't hurt to give it a little bit more. 4, 5. Okay, done with this one. This one's done. Now we'll go to this side. I'm going to loosen it. to where I'm just touching the spring again. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just want to make sure that the nyloc's to the end, so it doesn't hurt if you go a little bit more. Okay, you will notice that the weight of the vehicle is on these two bogey wheels to steer easy. This line is in a straight line. That's very important. That's why we have to space it in. If I didn't space it in, it doesn't work properly. The last thing you need to do is check toe. Toe is supposed to be close to 0 between the bogey wheels. We'll go to the back now and adjust the back. Okay, you notice on the adjustment here, everything's tight and stuff. There's a nut on the other side of the string right here. This should have, on an ATV, it's 7 millimeters. On a UTV, it's written down here, 19 millimeters. On the heavier rigs, we like to go about 1 inch. This means that this track can actually go down 1 inch before it hits that bolt. So we want an inch gap right here. Now you notice the spring is loose. Now we're going to run the nut all the way up to the spring and give it a turn and a half, and it's done. But it takes a little while. Now while I'm doing this, this is a custom application. It is not made to go jumping slash piles. It's not made to climb Mount Everest. It's made to get you your cabin and not have to spend $40,000 on a UTV with a cab. As long as it's on the road, tracks are designed to have equal weight on all 4 tracks. When you start going down 45-degree hills, you've got all your weight on the front track. You're asking for trouble. So I'm just telling you, common sense goes a long way. Once you test the limit once or twice, you learn right away it's not worth walking out. So now my spring still turns a little bit. Now I'm just contacted, so I'm going to give it 1.5 turns. There's 1/4, half, 3/4, 1/4, half. Done. This one is perfectly adjusted. No issues with this system. It just screwed up the ruler. Yeah.